Patience is a major component of parenting. Parents need to be patient with their little ones because it is at this stage that they need it the most. But sometimes it is so easy to lose patience. It would be helpful to consider patience as something that serves as a reminder that it is normal for kids to make a lot of mistakes in their age because they're still in the process of discovering and developing their unique set of characteristics and talents. Good evening, dear parents. In today's episode, we will start off with a video by Shirley of Home and Arrows. Shirley is a mother of 5 homeschooling kids, and we all know that given her situation, tons of patience would really be needed. In the video, Shirley shares a very thought-provoking quote. The greatest sign of maturity is patience of immaturity. Let's listen to Shirley.
Hey mom friends, welcome back to my channel, Home and Arrows. My name is Shirley, and for the last 12 years since my youngest was born, I've been a stay-at-home mom, and for the last 7 years, I've been a homeschooling mom to my 5 kids that I like to call my arrows. So that's why my channel name is Home and Arrows. And if I had $1 for every time someone said to me, "Oh, you have 5 kids," or "Oh, wow, that's awesome that you homeschool," I would have had more kids or I would love to homeschool, but I just don't have the, you guessed it, patience. So today, I want to chat all about patience. The very first thing that I wanted to do today was define patience. Sometimes words like patience or love or kindness or joy can be a little bit abstract, so I wanted to get a really good concrete definition of what patience is. So the definition that I found for patience was the capacity to accept or tolerate trouble or suffering without getting angry or upset. And I was like, that is really, really good, because I do believe that patience is a capacity that all of us can grow into. If you feel like you were born maybe an impatient person or someone who becomes annoyed very quickly or very easily, I love that patience is defined as a capacity, because the good news is that I think all of us have the ability to expand our capacity in any certain given area of our lives. So many people assume that just because you're the mom of a bigger than average sized family, or because you've chosen to homeschool, that you must automatically at birth been sprinkled with some kind of patience dust. And that just isn't true. I know so many moms of big families. I know so many homeschooling moms who really struggle with patience. I'm really convinced that God uses motherhood as just one of the ways to grow us and to grow our capacity in patience. I am a much more patient person today than I was 12 years ago before I even had any children. Recently, my daughter Daly, I was kind of overhearing a conversation that she was having with her younger sister. Her little sister wanted to pet her brand new guinea pig, and Daly just didn't respond well. And when I went to Daly later and talked to her about her response to her younger sister, she recognized that she did not respond well. She understood that she did not act or speak lovingly or kindly or patiently to her sister. When I asked her why she thought that was, her response to me was, "Mom, sometimes I just feel like I get annoyed so easily." And I felt like she hit the nail on the head. She responded to her sister directly out of how she was feeling. And as a mom, I thought about after that, I was like, God, how do I teach her and train her in this? And I think it's something that just time after time after time, whenever I see it happening, I need to bring it to her attention, show her that how she's responding is not good. And so just being consistent to help correct that behavior in her so that eventually the right response becomes a habit to her. It is so hard when we feel a certain way to respond in a different way. And I think that for Daly, that having a lot of siblings will actually be really good for her in the long run, because it's going to expose her to many, many opportunities to make the right choice when she feels annoyed. But growth doesn't happen just by being exposed to hard. I have 5 kids, and I could easily not grow in the area of patience just because I'm exposed to hard and difficult behavior many times throughout my day. Growth happens when we recognize that we are not responding well, and when we decide to be intentional to change our response. I need to be diligent and consistent to remind my daughter and to remind myself about the right way to respond until it becomes habit for both of us. There is a quote that I absolutely love, and it says this: "The greatest sign of maturity is patience with immaturity." Now, our kids, we know, if they're living under our roof, they have not fully yet matured into the people that God desires for them to be. We're praying and hoping that they will eventually get there one day, but they are not yet fully mature most of the time while they are still under our roof. At least mine aren't. My kids are between the ages of 12 and 6, and so there is a lot of immature behavior that happens. And I can't expect my kids to live life and act and respond like mature adults. I need to be the one that acts and responds like a mature adult when they, as children, are just being and acting and doing childish and immature things. Can you imagine when they constantly act out and are impatient with one another? If I then join that cycle and become impatient with them, they're impatient, then I'm impatient, it would just become this hot mess of a cycle. So somebody has got to be the mature one, somebody has got to be the adult and respond to immaturity with maturity. Now here is the main, kind of the biggest revelation that I have about patience. In life, we will always have situations and people and things that bring us feelings of frustration and anger. That will never go away. Patience simply means that we have grown, that we have matured in our faith, in our walk with God, to the point that when those frustrating and difficult and hard things come across our path, we are able to respond in a much more godly manner to them. And while our kids are young and small, I think it's just that we feel like we are confronted with it more because we are living with and doing life with other human beings that don't always do what we want them to do, that don't always respond the way that we want them to. Especially if you're a homeschooling mom and you're with these kids all day long, it can feel like your patience is just being tried way more often. So the good news is this, that as we grow in our faith in Christ and as we mature as people, that our response to those feelings of frustration and anger can grow and change if we allow God to do that in and through us. And man, that can be so tough because a lot of times we want to respond to exactly what we're feeling. When you're feeling angry, it's so easy to respond with anger. When you're feeling frustrated, it is so easy to respond with frustration. But patience is the ability to accept troubling behavior without acting out in frustration or anger. And that is so hard. Who can even do that? Is it even possible? And I believe that the answer is yes. Not that it is something that we will ever completely master because we are imperfect and we will get it wrong sometimes, if not a lot of the times. But what I've desired for my own life is this, that the pattern of my mothering towards my children would be that I am remembered as a patient mother. Will I mess up? Yes. Will I need to ask forgiveness from my children when I do? Yes. So moms, if this is something that you struggle with, being patient with your children, I want to encourage you because I've seen it in my own life that God can grow you in this area. And maybe there are just some simple practical things in your life that can help you with this. And the first thing is this. Maybe we can ask ourselves, what are some things that trigger me the most and cause me to not respond with patience? The first is, are you too busy or distracted? I know that when I have a lot going on, or that when I'm distracted with other work, that in those times and in those moments, I tend to be very impatient with my kids. Kids are rarely the distraction. It is all the other things pulling and vying for my attention in my life that are distracting me from doing my number one job, which is mothering my children. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that is the number one call on my life in this season, and that might change later on, but for right now, they are the number one thing that I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And so when there are other things vying for my attention outside of my children, I tend to think of my children as the distraction from what I'm trying to do and what work I'm trying to get done. But it's in fact the exact opposite. What I am doing is really what's distracting me from my number one role in this season of my life, which I know is to be a mom. Another thing, are you in a hurry? It can be like a Sunday morning, we're trying to get out the door and go to church. Maybe it's the dinner time hour for you and your family. It can be for us a Monday morning, we're trying to get out the door and go to CC. A lot of times when I am in a hurry, I know that I have the ability to not respond with patience. So do you know that you have a morning or a time of day where you are going to feel especially hurried? Before that time even hits, really just try to put yourself in a mindset that says, I know this is going to be a stressful hour, 30 minutes, whatever, and be super intentional to say, I'm going to respond well and I'm going to respond with patience. Think of things that you can do to help make those moments go smoother. Listen, if you have to turn on the TV, turn on the TV. I can remember when my kids were younger, I was didn't like to turn on the TV. I didn't want my kids spending their days or their time that way. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think there were moments that I really could have utilized something like TV time or screen time in moments that were just kind of stressful in my day. I can remember thinking one day, and it changed the way I saw this. I remember thinking, my kids having and seeing me be super frustrated and angry right now is way worse for them than them watching like an hour of Sesame Street. After I had that revelation, I was much more quick to turn on the TV and give them an hour to watch TV and give myself an hour to do things like prep dinner or do a quick cleanup around the house. Another trigger could be, have you set an expectation for a certain situation? And what I mean by that is sometimes we as moms, we look at it at an excursion or a vacation or something special or exciting that's coming up, and we kind of want to set the bar really high and imagine what that is going to look like or be like. And I have learned that expectations can ruin relationships. So if you have something coming up, for me, sometimes it's like family picture time. I have learned to set that bar really low about what that hour is going to be like. And that has helped me to not lose my patience as much. And just some practical things. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking water? Are you making sure that you're eating during the day? Because mamas, let's face it, hangry is a real thing. Pretty much, food and a nap can solve a lot of problems. So sweet moms, I am so happy that you decided to stick around with me today and just chat about this thing called patience. I hope that maybe I've been able to encourage you or give you something that you can carry with you throughout your week this week as you are mothering your sweet kids. Patience is a really beautiful thing if we can allow God to grow us in that area. And I want to leave you with a Bible verse, James 1:2-4, and it says this: My brothers, or I will say sisters, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. Know that when you fall into trials or hard times or difficult days and difficult moments with your kids, know that your faith is being tested. And if you can pass that test with a right response, what is happening in that moment is that God is producing and growing patience in you. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So moms, thanks so much for sticking around today for our mom chat about patience. I'm really so thankful for those of you who give a thumbs up when you like a video, for those of you that comment, and for those of you that have subscribed to our channel. It is so truly appreciated. And I really look forward to our next chat together. Until next time, moms, you got this. Bye.
Children model what they see, and when you parent with patience, you model respect, empathy, security, and good self-esteem. These are the characteristics you want to foster in your child. These are the experiences that teach your child how to be present and intimate, not only with himself, but also with others. So, when you stop, look, and listen to your child, you show him that he is important and that you believe in him and that you have empathy and compassion for his feelings. Active listening is based on patience and leads to the confidence needed for self-mastery. And finally, patience encourages not just empathy and compassion, but also confidence and competence. Patience is a virtue. By becoming a conscious parent, you can override your reactive behavior and impatience deliberately so that you can be present for your child when he needs you. By not projecting out onto your child your inner discord or stress, you can learn how to choose your behavior rather than being a victim of it. This is conscious parenting, and it not only helps you integrate with compulsions, but also models for your child what it is to be a proactive, healthy adult. Children are social learners and they learn through experience, environment, modeling, and imitation. Be what you want to see. This will help you be present in your child's life as well as your own. By paying attention, being an active listener, and making eye contact when talking with your child, you lower his frustration and you give him the message that you are with him and you are present for whatever it is he is doing. This teaches him that patience is really listening and being present in a relationship. As odd as it may seem, losing patience might also be a positive experience for us. It can help you recognize when you're stretching your resources too far. If you think about times in the past when your patience is worn thin, you would probably recognize that it usually happens when you're feeling overwhelmed, overloaded, and possibly underappreciated. We all have limits to how much we can tolerate, and we are only human after all. This doesn't make us bad parents. It makes us normal parents. I came across a definition for patience the other day that I believe is much more suitable to what a parent does day in and day out. Steady perseverance. Coming back time and again, trying to be more effective, trying to do our best to help our kids grow and develop into successful adults. That's steady perseverance. It's a different, more significant kind of patience, hanging in and doing the hard stuff, even when we feel like giving up. May the ties that bind families be with us always. Until next week, this is your host, Toti San Pedro.